Episode number 211 of Bill Man the Sport Guys podcast. I'm your host, Bill Man the Sports Guy. For the latest news of the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and college sports, this is the podcast to be. Now, at the time of this recording, we are less than 24 hours away from the NHL free agency, and we had the draft for NHL and NBA this past week. Also, some NBA trades and signings have happened, and a few NHL signings have happened. However, I'm not going to cover that until next episode, where I figured I could do it all in one. You know what I'm saying? But there are some NHL trades that I think we could talk about in this episode. Let's go to the NBA for some of the moves before we talk about the draft. There is one really big trade I do need to talk about here. It is Kevin Durant going to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the number 10 pick and 5 second-round picks. From the Phoenix Suns point, it feels like, they still have Devin Booker, and who knows if Bradley Beal's going to get traded or not. It feels like the Suns are going to start falling into the retool, rebuild mode. Whatever moves they make next season, we're going to find out. But Houston Rockets, I mean, losing a guy like Dylan Brooks, his toughness, that is a bit hard on them, but he will give good physicality to the Phoenix Suns. But with the young roster and adding Kevin Durant, watch out for the Rockets this season. They could potentially battle for a wild card spot in the 2025-26 season. All right, now that we've done that, let's go through the draft. Actually, one more trade. Let's do that. Boston Celtics have acquired Anthony Simmons while sending Drew Holiday to Portland. So they got Andre Simmons from the Portland Trailblazers in exchange for Drew Holiday, the Portland Trailblazers. There we go. And Drew Holiday is going from Boston to the Trailblazers. I don't know why I had a brain cramp for a second. Anyway, since Damian Lillard exit, averaging 20 plus points per game twice and posting 19.3 points per game, 4.8 assists per game this past season, and with the efficiency, the Celtics were looking to move on from Holiday's contract, and they secured it by getting Anthony Simmons. I think he's going to give him good, solid depth and be a bit of a good toughness and good ball handler for the Boston Celtics. That's kind of all my thoughts. And then the last one that still drives me crazy as a basketball fan to this day, Jordan Poole is now a New Orleans Pelicans. And all it took for them to get Jordan Poole, along with Saddiq Bey and the number 40 overall pick, CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick. Are you kidding me? The Pelicans just traded CJ McCollum, who's a better defender when healthy. And now Jordan Poole gives New Orleans so much offensive scoring because at this point, we'll never know if Zion Williamson will ever be healthy. And now adding Jordan Poole could potentially be a new face for the Pelicans. I'm completely mind blown, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I don't know about Saddiq Bey. I can't really comment on him that much. And now the Wizards, they're still in rebuild, and now they got a defender in CJ McCollum. That's just crazy. And not only that, the Boston Celtics have moved on from Kristaps Porzingis as he's going to go to the Atlanta Hawks for a second-round pick. And it's also going to send George Niling at a second-round pick to Boston and Terrence Mann and the number 22 pick to Brooklyn. Porzingis, sure, he's been a bit injury-prone, but he contributes. Very solid player. Because I still think the Boston Celtics would not have won the 2024 NBA Finals had it not been for Kristaps Porzingis. And there were so many rumors that they were going to trade him away. So to see that happen really isn't a surprise. Now, we do have two NBA signings to talk about that we're going to mention really quick before we get to the draft, and then we'll do the NHL and then some of the trades that have happened. I might try to save some for the next video or episode. First off, Fred VanVleet signs a 2-year, $50 million deal with the Houston Rockets. Like I said with the Kevin Durant trade, watch out for the Houston Rockets. I Honestly, at this point, I expect them to be one of the most aggressive teams in the offseason, and it's already showing it. Signing Fred Van Lit, and he had a fine season with Houston and with Kevin Durant and all the crew. Ooh, they're gonna be really good. So not a bad one. Kyrie Irving's gonna stay with the Dallas Mavericks on a 3-year, $119 million contract. You know, Kyrie Irving, they turned down his pricey player option to get him locked through a few million less. He is 33 and is expected to miss the first half of next season after he tore his ACL back in March. But they're committed to him as being part of the backcourt going forward. I feel like 119 is kind of a low ball, but Kyrie Irving, when healthy, has shown that he is one of the elite goal scorers in the NBA. So fine move, I guess, but I feel like he kind of got lowballed there, but I think he should help out the Mavericks. All right, let's go through the draft now that we're at it. With the first overall pick, I'm only going to go through 1 through 10 because 1 through 10, you kind of get an idea. 11 through 500, forget about it. With the number 1 overall pick, Cooper Flag is going to go to the Dallas Mavericks. Dylan Harper, the son of Ron Harper, former Bull champion, is going to go to the San Antonio Spurs. VJ Edcombe, I apologize if I pronounced it wrong, is going 3rd overall to the Philadelphia 76ers. Con Knoopel is going to go to the Charlotte Hornets with the 4th overall pick. The Utah Jazz select Ace Bailey with the 5th overall pick. Number 6, the Washington Wizards. I just said Nationals, but the Washington Wizards have took Trey Johnson. The New Orleans Pelicans have took Jeremiah Fears with the 7th overall pick. With the 8th overall pick, the one of 4 that they had in the first round, by the way. At number 8, Edgar Demine is going to go to the Brooklyn Nets. Number 9, the Toronto Raptors are going to take Colin Murray Boyles. And at number 20, or at number 10, sorry, Kaman Maluka is going to the Phoenix Suns. So, solid moves. Also, shout out to Danny Wolf from Michigan, who is going to the Brooklyn Nets. I'm honestly excited to see how the Nets will be in the next 3 years. Mark Williams, by the way, is going to go to the Phoenix Suns. Williams is fine. Fine addition move. I got nothing else to say after that. All righty. Let's now go through some of the NHL trades that we have missed. First and foremost, the Philadelphia Flyers have acquired Trevor Zegras from the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks get Ryan Poling and the 45th pick in this year's draft and a 2026 4th round pick. Trevor Zegras, he's not the most physicality defensive kind of forward, but offensively he's very solid, can produce 60 to 70 points in the season. And while last year was a down year for Zegras, I think going to a new team with Philly and giving him that fresh start, maybe have him play with Matvei Michkov, the Philadelphia Flyers, their center depth is going to be pretty scary in the future. And Trevor Zegras, who I think will be a big help, I expect him to have a bounce back season with the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, the next one, the Vancouver Canucks have traded Evander Kane, or Vancouver acquired him for the Edmonton Oilers in exchange for the 117th overall pick. For Edmonton, you free yourself a bit of cap space, and Evander Kane, solid player, but he was injured for the most part of the season, and he kind of had a down year in the postseason this year. So I could see why the Edmonton Oilers wanted to trade him. Now, as for the Vancouver Canucks, I honestly think this is a really stupid trade on their end. You know, Not only you took his final year of his contract, but you also helped out a divisional rival, and the return seems a bit underwhelming. So I don't understand. Vancouver could always try to trade him if it doesn't pan out. So on the Oilers' point of view, you free up some cap space, but from the Vancouver Canucks point of view, it's a really stupid trade. They literally just wasted it for nothing. Next up, the Utah Mammoth have acquired JJ Peterka from the Buffalo Sabres. Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan are going to the Buffalo Sabres. Josh Doan, son or cousin, I don't remember, but one of them of Shane Doan, family relative. And then Michael Kesselring. Michael Kesselring kind of had a down year, but it's a good that they're getting Buffalo's going to get a right-handed shot defenseman as lefty, left side wise. Buffalo's crowded right side. They almost have nobody there. So adding a guy like Michael Kesselring, he should slide in their top four. Very nice. And then Josh Doan, I think he'll be a good solid bottom six, maybe top nine. Could be a good penalty killer. Possibly give him a decent amount of goal scoring because the Buffalo Sabres seriously need some help. And JJ Peterka, I think a team like Utah Mammoth, where he's going to play with alongside of Clayton Keller. Uh, wow, Christian Dvorak. Basically, Dvorak. Well, he is a free agent, so we'll see if they bring him back. But JJ Peterka and Clayton Keller. Oh yeah, that'll be. Oh, and Logan Cooley. Yeah, the Utah. They're going to be something in the near future. Next up, the Montreal Canadiens have acquired Noah Dobson from the New York Islanders. And also, all Montreal had to give up was the 16th and 17th picks, as well as defenseman Emil Heinzen. Heinzen, prospect that'll be part of the Islanders as they're going to go on a rebuild right now. But the Canadiens, with the young core with Lane Hudson and Noah Dobson, that's going to be good. Montreal's going to have a very good defensive pairing, very solid for the next 3 to 4 years. And Noah Dobson, by the way, also did resign 8 year, $76 million deal. So that's about 9.5. Easily good solid move by the Canadiens. We're going to see how this turns out. Next up, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They have acquired Charlie Coyle from the Colorado Avalanche. And in exchange for, I don't know why it does not say, but it doesn't say for some reason, even if I were to try to find it. But anyway, I don't know if I like this part from Columbus's point of view. Like, I can understand that, they were trying to go for Noah Dobson, then Miles Wood. Miles Wood is the other player. Okay. Sorry, I just found that out now. So Miles Wood is the other player. Miles Wood. Columbus wanted on Noah Dobson, so I could see why they were a bit desperate. Charlie Coyle, fine bottom six, and Miles Wood is just more of a fourth liner, healthy scratch. Not really offensively. Charlie Coyle's not offensively as he once was. Miles Wood, he's just fine, but he's just on a bad contract. So I can understand why Columbus made this move, but at the same time, do they really had to make that trade? I don't think so. But with Colorado, this frees up a ton of cap space, and I expect them to go after probably one winger this season or this offseason. So we're going to see how this pans out. Okay. Detroit Red Wings have acquired John Gibson from they traded the Anaheim Ducks, but Detroit's going to get Peter Mrazek, a future second round pick, and a fourth round pick. John Gibson, we can finally end this now. The John Gibson, where is he going to get traded to, finally comes to an end. As the answer is, he is going to the Detroit Red Wings. And with Detroit's goaltending, at least they have a goaltender past the season. Peter Mrazek, he was all right between Detroit and Chicago this past season, so solid goalie for Anaheim, I guess. And then the draft picks, they're just draft picks. All right. apologies, guys. One more NBA trade to talk about that I forgot because it involves the Chicago Bulls. The Cleveland Cavaliers have acquired Lonzo Ball from the Chicago Bulls in exchange for Isaac Okoro. This was Lonzo Ball's first season back from 3 knee surgeries that he had from the past 3 seasons. And, Ball, I wish him nothing but the best of luck, but I think he's going to fit really well with Cleveland and Isaac Okoro, who was drafted like 5th overall in 2020. We'll see what the Bulls can get out of him. I just don't know what can I really expect out of him. And then we will have, that's really my overall thoughts on this. And the last news for today, we are going to have an NFL trade that came out. And one more hockey trade to talk about. So let's talk about the last hockey trade we need to talk about. The Nashville Predators have acquired Nicholas Hague from the Las Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for centers Colton Sissons and Jeremy Lauzon. Hague, and also Nashville did extend him to a 4-year, $18 million deal. Nicholas Hague, I'll be curious to see where exactly he's going to play on Nashville's blue line. Was a fine player for Vegas and part of their 2023 Stanley Cup run. So Nashville is going to be interesting to watch this offseason, but they do have a ton of money with Ryan O'Reilly, Brady Shea. So Nicholas Hague, the fact that they got a top right 4D, this is a good one. Now, Vegas, we'll see what moves they make. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There's a move they made, but that'll be the next episode. All right, the last trade to talk about, and it's an NFL trade. The Pittsburgh Steelers have acquired cornerback Jalen Ramsey from the Miami Dolphins. And in exchange, Pittsburgh is going to get Monica Fitzpatrick and a late round pick. And also a tight end. Jonnu Smith is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh, it's going to be interesting. Jalen Ramsey should be a big help, cornerback position-wise. Monica Fitzpatrick and Jonnu Smith. I could see them panning out, but who knows? Because Miami Dolphins, another sports professional team that needs serious help. I could see a scenario where they both pan out and Dolphins could finally hit the playoff contention. Now, as for Pittsburgh, I still think they'll be playoffs 500 or better until further notice. But adding Jalen Ramsey, I'm interested to see how he's going to pan out with Pittsburgh. Not going to lie. And that's all the moves we're going to talk about in this episode. Obviously, the next 3, 4, 5 episodes will involve a ton of NBA signings and an NHL free agency signings and trades. We're really going to be expecting a ton of that in the next 3 to 5 weeks. I could definitely say that. Oh, and let's go over the top 10 really quick for the NHL. Matthew Schaefer's going to the New York Islanders with the first overall pick. Second pick, Michael Misa is going to go to the San Jose Sharks. Antoine Fidel is going to go to the Chicago Blackhawks. Caleb Denoyers going to the Utah Mammoth. Brady Martin going to the Nashville Predators. Porter Morn going to the Philadelphia Flyers. James Higgins, one of the most underrated draft picks in my opinion, is going to go to the Boston Bruins with the 7th overall pick. The 8th pick, Seattle Kraken are going to take Jack O'Brien. The 9th pick, Buffalo Sabres are going to get Radim Paterka and Roger McQueen, ka-chow, from the Cars movie. Roger McQueen's going to go to the Anaheim Ducks. So let me know your thoughts on that. And that's all for today's episode of Bill Man the Sport Guys podcast. Always remember, latest news of the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and even college sports. This is the podcast to be. Thank you for tuning in episode number 211. Also, let me know your thoughts and opinions on Twitter at Billman Sports, Instagram at Billman Sports Guy, and here on YouTube at Billman Sports Guy. Have a good evening, everybody. Stay tuned for episode number 212. Peace.